The first thing I'm gonna harvest from the garden is some garlic scapes. That won't take long. There isn't too many, only about 75 plants. When I harvest a garlic scape, here it is in all its beautiful glory, I'm gonna cut it right down to where it first comes out. There we go. Put it in the bowl. Next. Okay, let's carry along. Let's see what we got. Harvesting the garlic scapes from the plant, you want to make sure that you harvest them before the seed bulb opens up. It's nice and tight like that. Otherwise, you might be a little bit too late. When you harvest a garlic scape, it signals to the plant that it should start forming its bulb. So this should cause my garlic to start developing a nice big bulb. I'm super excited. We're only getting about 1/3 of the garlic that we planted, and I'd like to blame that on our winter here in southern Alberta. We had a streak before we expected it that got down to -40 before we could get our garlic mulched. But I'd say overall the plants that came are very healthy, and we'll still have lots of garlic, which is awesome. I love garlic. I'm almost done here. You beautiful plants. You're just gorgeous. All right, I got a fairly decent big bowl of garlic scapes. Let's take them inside and get them cleaned up now. Next, I'm going to be harvesting some scallions. I'm going to put 3 to 4 scallions in each garden box. They look beautiful. For these, I might as well start right on the end. We did get a little bit of a rain last night, a little bit of a shower, so they're going to need a bit of a rinse. These are the onions that, when I leave them, these make the most beautiful white onion bulbs if I don't harvest these as scallions. So if I don't get to all of these before the green tops mature too much, I'm not going to be really sad about it. Okay, here we go. I got a few, maybe just more than a dozen in there. So I'll take them inside, give them a clean off, and trim the tops. With the heat and some water, these guys have really filled out nicely. Still coming. Yeah, they're looking good. Lincoln Homesteader peas. All right, while my humans are picking peas for me, because that's too much bending over yet, I'm going to pick some beets. I don't want the beets to get too big, so here, let's pull this one out and see what's going on with it. Oh, that's a good size. Darn. Oh, that one's still attached. You know what? I'm gonna just stick some dirt around it and say good luck, buddy. That's a nice looking beet though. Look at that. Can't beat that. Got some ants on it though, so it's probably good it's coming out. That is big though. I was hoping for some about this size. There we go. Those are a nice size. All right, some of this lettuce down here is quite mature. So before I put it in any garden box, I will taste test it, see how it is. So I'm going to cut them out of the ground and then remove some outer leaves and see what we got. Okay, so with this, it's a nice type of romaine. So I'm gonna take all these outer leaves off, and the chickens can have those for sure. Clean those up nicely. No thanks. We have quite a few ants in the garden this year. Has anybody else got ants in the garden? Usually that's kind of a thing that happens when it rains. All right, so it's coming, looking good. I'm gonna keep going with paring that down. Looks like maybe I could have picked it a little bit sooner. It's got some little ones growing from the inside. I don't think that's gonna matter too much. So when you get a romaine, you can see how much of it comes off to make you a nice tight head, eh? Knock it off like that, and you got yourself a beautiful romaine. Nice. So the next thing they're gonna pick for me is the spinach. And there's some spinach down here. Let's go see what Glenn's doing. He's making some dill sticks. So he just cut the dill off at ground level, and he's wrapping it around with a string. And we're just gonna leave it outside to dry. And then we're gonna grind it up in the grinder. Use the stalk and everything, the heads and the frilly-dillies, bits and everything to make this what we call ground up dill parts. Yummy. Away he goes. Bye. Okay, I brought the beets up here. So what we do with the beets is we're gonna just rinse the end off, but then I go through and I take off all of the beet stems that are broken or yucky, old, dried out. So I'll just remove all of that. So they'll get lots of tops with it still, but the whole beet presentation itself will look quite lovely. Sometimes the leaves, even though they're attached nicely, don't look great. You would probably buy this at the store like that, but I'm not gonna send it like that. So I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna throw it in the pail for the chickens. These are the 6 heads of lettuce that I picked. So I'm gonna taste them all to make sure that they're not bitter. And if they are bitter, well, I'll go out and try again. Kind of pretty, eh? This beautiful head of lettuce was the no-no lettuce. It was the one that I tasted that made me like spit the piece out immediately. That's why I taste test it, because I don't want my garden box customers getting that. It's too bad, it's so beautiful. I'm measuring out the peas by weight to keep it kind of fair, and each garden box gets a 10-ounce bag of peas, just fresh peas to shell. That wouldn't be enough for a meal per se unless it's just one person, but just enough to get a nice little taste. There are more herbs in the garden that I could harvest, but I'm not familiar with using them just yet, like the curry herb. So I want to try cooking with that before I put it in the boxes. Okay, so this is what goes in our garden boxes this week. 1 head of lettuce, a bunch of radishes, 2 stalks of rhubarb, beautiful green onions, bag of spinach, beets with tops, nice size zucchini, most of the herbs that we have available. And I beefed up this bag of garden peas. I struggle right now, you guys, with this. until we get like potatoes and stuff to go in the box. I'm like, is this worth $30? But it is washed, rinsed, and delivered, and picked fresh, just for you. Tell me what you think. And that's a box full.